to mention in the beginning that there's a Talkback. Woo! So the cast of Time Will Tell can come on out, come join us on stage. Hillary, can you hit the work light? Got you. Thank you.
Swag money, do swag money. You have to be something else.
Alright, so if you're unfamiliar with what a talkback is, it's something that a lot of new play development works do, just to kind of hear some feedback from the audience. It gives you a chance to ask some burning questions to the actors and the directors and the playwrights and stuff. So I want to go ahead and I just want everyone to introduce themselves. You can say your name and then what you did on the production, so we can start with Bridget.
Hello, I'm Bridget, and I was the director of Time Will Tell.
We can call for applause till the end, thank you.
I'm Will, I wrote We Begin in a Tavern.
I'm Casey, I was Father Time in Time Will Tell.
I'm Brendan, and I was Alan in Time Will Tell.
I'm Erin Stevens, and I was Grace in Time Will Tell.
I'm Ethan, and I was Jordan in Time Will Tell.
I'm Gian, and I wrote Time Will Tell.
Wow.
I'm Caroline Cotillo, and I was Patron, Sylvia, Princess, Captain, and Witch. Yeah.
I'm Danny Sanchez. I was part 3 in We Begin in a Tavern. All the rules are like this.
I'm Taylor Petros. I was a swing and We Begin in the Tavern.
Sure. I'm Zach. I was Therian and the Count in We Begin in a Tavern.
I'm Savannah Cuttrib, and I played Sid in We Begin in a Tavern.
I'm Jackie Huss, and I played Barkeep in We Begin in the Tavern.
I'm Danilo Gonzalez Castaño, and I was a dirty, dirty servant, a skeleton pirate, and a swing for We Begin in a Tavern.
I'm Hudson. I was the assistant director of We Begin in a Tavern.
Asia Hendricks. I was the dramaturg for We Begin in a Tavern.
I'm Christina Neely. I was the director of We Begin in a Tavern.
And I'm Maurice Vache. I was the stage manager for We Begin in a Tavern.
Awesome. So the first thing I want to do, I just want to open the floor. Let's for some questions for each show. So we can start out with Time Will Tell. Does anyone have any questions about anything that they would like to know? Bradley.
Hi. I have a question about the character of Father Time and kind of what his role in the show means, essentially. I really enjoyed the way that the timeline ended up kind of folding out in the play, so I kind of want to know what you guys, especially from a directing perspective, the way that you guys figured out how that character was going to kind of fall into place, pretty much.
Okay. I'll respond with my points, and then you, as an actor, you as a director, can speak up. So Father Time, the concept of the play was basically when an abuser becomes the abused. So the abusive father was no longer in the picture, but now this history was still in the house, weighing down on everybody. So Father Time very much was this supernatural personification of this cruel history that these characters had gone through, and it was shown through the scary things that they did not want to face, which is why they did not listen to Father Time for the longest time. And so yeah, he was the abusive force in the house that had taken over, basically.
Yeah, as a character, I saw him and played him as these two people weren't using the time that they were given the way they should be, and he was trying to force them into the way he wanted it to be, so that came to them as the most abusive force they know, their father and husband. Yeah, just pushing his will on what he never could get right.
And with that, everything that Father Time does throughout the show, which isn't clear whether he does it or if it's just time itself moving, rotting the apples, going paint off walls. Those are all just kind of personifications of other small like fears. The apple just kind of like missing your time that's currently there, and then just like paint falling off, just a house falling apart and all that. Yeah, I'm not sure what to say.
Awesome, thank you, great
Cool,
question.
thanks y'all.
Cool, we can transition over to We Begin in a Tavern. Does anyone, we'll alternate. Does anyone have a question for We Begin in a Tavern? I have lots of questions. Allie.
Hi. So, in regards to them all playing different characters, or just a question in general, how long did it take for you to write this?
Well, this was not my biggest monster I've written. I've done like really long like historical dramas. I've done one where every actor played multiple characters. But this was like sort of a coming home to me because I've written a lot of serious stuff, but had my heart as a comedy writer, and just finding little things to have fun with excites me. And in Product Spotlight, we have the blessing and the curse of having a very small number of people to work with. But I think with this kind of like fun, over-the-top script, part of the absurdity of it, we're already playing characters that couldn't possibly exist, so why not play 7 of them? And particularly like the moment of like having the princess and the pirate be in the same scene at the same time. I started with the idea of, okay, 3 of them are going to play every character that's not a main character. And then that became, okay, how can we have fun with that?
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah, thanks. Awesome. Does anyone have another question for Time Will Tell? Bennett. Hi, Bennett.
Hello. This play has a few themes, but one that I really picked up on in life was like this hyperfixation on entropy and just how it festers in people's minds. So what is your solution to that personally? Like, what is your solution to knowing that everything you know and love will die and be gone? How do you stop focusing on that?
Well, I think
do theater and forget about
Yes.
Okay.
So I think the reason that it becomes a main theme is because it's so, the opposite of it's lacking. I mean, my answer to that is, of course, live your damn life and do what you want to do. Enjoy your life. Be who you want to be and all that stuff. But the reason that I felt it was such a strong theme is because those things are lacking for every single character except for Jordan. Jordan's kind of the only person who went on and like did anything with his life, or like did anything to make him happy, and he's kind of the only person who ends up happy. With everybody else, it kind of feels like both the 2 other human characters both just kind of feel like they're kind of just complaining about everything that's going wrong instead of, you know, appreciating what they have. So.
Gianna, do you want to speak on that at all?
Yeah, basically, they both got caught up in like these either delusions or failures to accept what had really happened in themselves. So the answer to that, like at the very end, you have to kind of just accept what has happened, the good and the ugly, and then just do what you can with that.
Awesome. Thanks, Bennett. All right. Do we have yeah, bringing the mood down. Do we have another question for We Begin in a Tavern? Remy.
What was your favorite joke in the show?
That was scripted or not?
We go through like the whole cast.
Yeah, we can start down the line of Reese.
Oh, starting with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
You make it quick though, you don't have to give the whole explanation.
Yeah. Short version is the scene with the squire and the count. We have a script. That is probably the most improv scene because the name, they make a lot of jokes off of the name. So that's probably my favorite, is just seeing how the 2 of them just completely are like, you know what, we're going to make so many jokes off this name. I just love that.
Yeah, mine's definitely the whole captain and princess thing. Also because it was like, the first time I read it, I was like, ooh, that's not gonna be fun to direct. But then we got it, and like it worked really well, and so it just makes me really happy. But it's also funny because Caroline's funny. Yeah.
Gosh. Vaughn Scam Likely.
I like my ears to sing me. Your ears work.
Okay.
I like cheer them, hear them.
I think it's so silly. It makes me, every time I'm backstage, I'm like. Me? Okay. I like the Baron like working double profit. It's funny.
I think my favorite one recently has been whenever Sid is interacting with Squire, and then I tell you to leave, and then you just start following.
That was not scripted.
Yeah.
Other than the Count and Squire, which is always fun, it's when Squire, when he's talking with Sid, he goes, "Chew and me, we're special."
Yeah, that's my favorite too. My favorite? Well, I'm not. I like them too. The scene where like you're like, "Well, you're ridiculous, sir." Like, I think that's really funny.
Thanks. You're really funny. You're all funny. I think my favorite part probably is the "No, I'm Prince Harmony" part.
And then Danilo, did you have one to say
I blinked out. My bad. Dang. I really like the slow-mo. I really like the slow-mo fight, especially my favorite part is like, "You're retired." It's
When
always
you throw the skull.
It's always hard to like not
Oh, the skull. Yeah.
in the back.
What were our favorite jokes,
Yeah.
guys?
There's not one for each of us.
Yeah, I like the Eric with an E. That was.
You guys think
Oh, Will, you're over there. What's your favorite
I
one?
think it was the first one I thought of, which was lying about who the main character is for the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like
I love that. Awesome. Okay, so before we move on to any questions that either of the playwrights have for the audience, are there anyone else have any questions for either of the shows? I can probably take. Oh.
Was the ending of the first show up to like interpretation, or was like kind of like a dream or like something like that?
I definitely left it somewhat ambiguous. It's definitely should I say what it
It's up to
or
you.
what I
You
perceive
can
it
leave
as?
it. You can whatever you want.
Because what I perceive it as, I have like two different routes because it is ambiguous. But I know in scene 2, Alan's talking about how he has this dream that's a fantasy of how things should have been, and then Jordan's like, but isn't that just going to stop you from being able to accept what's really happening? So then at the end, Alan grabs a lighter and he says he has to say goodbye, and he's saying goodbye to that fantasy, and that's why there's a fire in the very end, because he's letting it go.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. So we can start with Will. Will, do you have? Oh.
Oh, I did have a
Yeah,
question.
go for it, Tom.
I have a question for the playwright. You hit on a lot of themes in your play, interpersonal relationships, the passage of time, parenthood, the mother-son relationship, sexuality. What theme, if any, did you focus on most in your writing, or was it the aggregation of all the themes?
I just got, because originally the ending was a lot more ambiguous, but then after talking with my director about like where I could go with the script, I think I really try to hit home on this idea of you can't change what has happened. Like I was saying before, you kind of just have to, at a certain point, accept it, whether you want to, whichever way you end up going, when you end up accepting it, you kind of just have to face facts at a time. That's what I ended up going with.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So Will, do you have any questions that you want to ask the audience about the show?
Yeah, sure. I'll do a fast one. I've been looking at doing this in a lot of my scripts, and particularly this one. If anyone's done anything educational or 2AA related, if you ever want to put on this type of script, a high school or a middle school, like what would work for that, or if there are things that you would want out of the script that it's not giving that would work for a younger cast?
Curveball.
Maybe I have to swear.
More names like
Yeah, we gotta take up the
I didn't write that.
Change a name or two. It totally works as a TYA show as well, not only for adults. I mean, as a farce, it has the power to draw younger people into the theatrical world. So I think it completely and perfectly works for that age group. And I think it really would be interesting to see younger actors perform this and see how they react to the improvisational aspects of it. Because lots of times kids, teenagers, children are better than us adults at playing, and so that I would really like to see that.
Anyone else want to add on to that? Sam?
Thinking back off what Kaseke said, it is a fun show, it's a fun script, so definitely it will adapt for a much more younger cast. It will be amazing to see what they bring in to that script, into this show.
I would also just like to add that if you were at the One Act Festival last semester, you might have seen Will's play Poltergeist. And high school actually just reached out to Will and asked for the licensing rights for it.
I want my residuals.
All right, cool. Gian, did you have any questions for the audience?
Y'all actually asked the questions I was going to ask you. Do you guys have any questions? Cass? Bridget?
Did you enjoy the show?
Awesome. So I think that just about wraps it up. Awesome. Cool. So everyone, thank you so much for coming out tonight. A couple things I wanted to add, say really fast. So there's a little barcode out on the poster outside that has our playbill on it if you want to read about any of the actors or read any of the notes or anything. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, thank you so much for coming out tonight. We are taking donations, as we mentioned. Please give us your money. I will say it bluntly. Yeah, so me and Sam are both graduating this semester, which I'm sad about. But I've been doing Project Spotlight my whole entire time at UCF, and it means the world to me. It has taught me so many things, and I'm like, I'm really happy to be kind of handing it over, but it's also like so hard to leave this behind, leaving the comfort of these people and this family that I have here. And Sam, I'm sure you could say the same thing as well.
With that being said, yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I have met so many incredible people here, and honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all, and I love you all. Since we are graduating, me and Shannon are proud to announce the next artistic director and company stage manager for next year.
Cool. Yeah! Alrighty, so our company stage manager, she is not here tonight to wave and stuff, but her name is Avery Higgins. She's wonderful. She comes to the shows tomorrow night. She directed one of them. She's awesome. And
introducing our next artistic director is Mr. Gian.
As you can see, the Project Spotlight is in great hands. Alrighty, thank you all so much for coming tonight. Drive home safe and have a great rest of your night.